Irish guy at Everton, a historically brilliant, respected, excellent Premier League club, I've just appointed a ginger bloke named Sean Dyche for a club with all the allure at Everton Football Club. To hear that this is their new man, Dyche, this must be like a princess telling her royal family that she just decided to date someone off the undated balls. I mean, what? Dyche has probably spent the last few months sitting in the car park outside Bournemouth, just begging someone for the keys. I mean, not even the likes of QPR or Middlesbrough have given him a ring. I mean, maybe it's the fact he's football's answer to Fred Flintstone. Maybe it's the fact that he sounds like Darth Vader with a cough. But lads, it's not really a good look when the only club to offer him a job since the Burnley sack was a team in Qatar. Everton are a club who should pride themselves on hiring top managers, either with massive CVs or huge potential. I'm sorry, but lads, over the last 10 years, Everton coaches have gone to manage Manchester United, Barcelona, Real Madrid, the Netherlands. Roberto Martinez has been given 2 golden generations with Belgium and Portugal. He's gonna be Ronaldo's last ever Portugal manager. What? He's the former Wigan coach. I mean, what next? He's gonna be asked to babysit the king's son? Even their last manager, his previous club was a European giant like Chelsea, managing them the year they won the Champions League. But Dyche, the guy's not even a year out from the Burnley sack. The guy is about as fashionable as cheese scraped from a donkey's foot. Farhad Moshiri is the man who wanted Dyche back when it was cool to want Dyche. You know, the season where Burnley were about to finish 7th in the Premier League and qualify for Europe. Well lads, it's 2023 and Dyche was sacked at Turf Moor last April. And yes, I know everyone reacted to that as if the Burnley chairman had just voluntarily agreed to eat dog food off the corner flag. It seemed an insane decision at the time, but here's the facts. Sean Dyche has won just 8 of his last 50 Premier League games. Burnley were an oafish, unpleasant football team. Watching them play ball under Dyche, it was a bit like walking your granddad picking his toenails in the sink. It was horrible, Neanderthal football. Back from the era of Game of Thrones. Honestly, it's where Ned Stark was playing right back. At the time, I just thought, but I mean, go down Turf Moor, ask any Burnley fan if they want Dyche back, and it'd be like asking them if they own chicken pox in their crotch. Honestly, those fans might look like they just sit around in tank tops that don't fit them, drinking beer and voting for Farage. You know, just a gang of fog dads. Which is ironic, considering he's currently beefing a Burnley fan. But honestly, offer them the return of Dyche, and they'd sooner eat their eyebrows in a pie. These sort of managers suit a certain level of team. They should never be offered then a massive job. It'd be like a few years ago, I heard that Newcastle United, the great Newcastle, should give Tony Pulis a ring. No, I promise you, they already went through this with Allardyce. The Geordies would sooner shove their own shoe in their mouth. Burnley fans don't want Dyche back because, no, they're now a stylish ball-playing team who've just won 8 championship games in a row. Under Vince & Company, they're top of the league with 63 goals scored in 33 games. The entire Dyche project was almost fed to a family of pigeons overnight. Since Dyche was binned off, 53 players have left the club. I mean, well, Weghorst has left them twice. I'm guessing even Dyche's coffee mug was thrown out the window. Even his office seat was probably burned in a fire. Even the toilet he used to use was probably filled with bleach. This Burnley project is finally coming good. And let's be honest, the fans were probably terrified of this change when, in pre-season last July, they let Newcastle United, the team who stole their goalkeeper, scored 9 against them. We live in a world where Burnley are declaring that they've outgrown Sean Dyche, and yet Everton want him in the job. I mean, it was cool to want Dyche in 2017, yes, but liking him now? I mean, it's like enjoying James Franco films 5 years ago. Yeah, tell someone now that you like him, and you'll probably have angry feminists beating you to death with leather handbags. I'm sorry, but does anyone really think that Everton fans will take to Dyche? They had Rafa Benitez in the dugout. That man plays a style of football that, yeah, is about as entertaining as watching cows playing chess. It's an effective, solid style, but the precious Everton fans watching that boring defensive football, they were probably getting sick in their lap. Everton fans want to watch a fun style of entertaining football. But I mean, when was the last time Everton were fun to watch? For about 3 months, when they signed James Rodriguez, maybe? Yeah, that was back when the fans weren't even allowed to watch. Honestly, that was like back in 2007, everyone telling me that Superbad was good. Yeah, great. My mother won't let me watch. Instead, it was a DVD to Pocahontas and Winnie the Pooh. I mean, is any Everton fan really going to be happy to see Dyche walk through the door? And watching him reunited with the likes of Dwight McNeil? Dyche spent 4 years of picking McNeil literally every week on the Burnley left wing, despite him having all the end product of elephant sick. Watching him set up the Toffees in a rigid 4-4-2 with both Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Neil Maupay up front. I mean, this guy who signed previous beanpoles like Peter Crouch and Wout Weghorst, so you just know he's probably going to chuck in a loan bid for Christian Benteke, or maybe try and buy Chris Wood in the summer, trying to hijack Nottingham Forest. Everton, does this sound like fun to you? The thing is, Everton have already made this appointment 5 years ago when they hired Sam Allardyce. Sean is just another Sam. But let's be real, Allardyce had a far superior career. Dyche is off the back of 9 years with Burnley, which is the equivalent of being stuck in a long-term relationship with Susan Boyle. But Allardyce, there's a guy who had taken Bolton into Europe. He was a success at Blackburn, West Ham, Sunderland and Crystal Palace. I mean, the previous year, he'd just been offered the England job and hadn't actually been sacked midway through a contract in club football for 7 years. And still, the guy walks into an Everton relegation mess, helps them finish 8th, and the Toffees fans still treated his presence as if he's a dodgy uncle at your nephew's christening. You know, that weird 57-year-old who drives an ice cream van and who keeps telling everyone how attractive Hermione is? Everton literally had Marcelo Bielsa in the building and said no. Apparently the guy wanted to completely restructure the club from top to bottom, and he wanted a policy where they would target younger players instead of, you know, chucking 40 million at everything with a pulse. Bielsa is a man who's worked miracles on shoestring budgets before. Like that, he reached a Europa League final with Atletico Bilbao, a club where you're literally only allowed to use players who are Basque. I mean, people say he's just a South American Kevin Keegan, that he's just an emotional quitter, and that he was ready to ditch Leeds United at any moment. No, lad, he spent 4 years there and didn't quit once. I mean, this is a chance to literally take Frank Lampard's job. Wouldn't that have been the ultimate Spygate revenge? This man was going to be a long-term project who would completely revamp Everton from top to bottom. I mean, sure, his methods are so intrinsically complicated and intense that no, they probably wouldn't have worked in a relegation scrap, but so, if there's any team who needs a relegation to whitewash their club, it's Everton. That club are begging to go down. I mean, lads, look at Newcastle in 2009. They were a complete mess who got relegated then, but then they chose to use their championship season as a chance to flush out their mercenaries. I mean, that season in the second tier was the first time in 7 years that a manager actually had a full season at Newcastle in charge. It was a chance for stability, to start from scratch. So is it any coincidence? In the space of just 3 years, Newcastle went from finishing 18th up, finishing 5th and qualifying for Europe. We've seen it with so many teams. The likes of West Ham, Aston Villa, they look down and out no hopers when they finish last in the Premier League. Well, a couple of seasons later, they came back and were reborn. That is what Everton needs. In the same way that Burnley are going back to the Premier League, looking like a mini Man City under company. Everyone can't wait to see them make over. No longer will they just look like a bunch of cavemen who look like they've only just discovered fire. Suddenly, Burnley, Greg's FC, are gonna be fun to watch. Oh, this is gonna be weird. It's gonna be like seeing a homeless man wearing a suit. It must be like watching Russell Brand wearing a tie, or Jonah Hill using a fork, as opposed to, you know, shoveling the meatloaf pie in his face. I mean, look at the last time Bielsa was in the championship. He completely remodeled Leeds from probably the most depressing club in the country to the most fun to watch team in England. That is what Everton need. But now, Dyche is just gonna do what Big Sam did. He'll keep you in the league, but then what? How long until the Everton fans get sick of 4-4-2? I mean, there's a fan base who, when they got wind of the club were about to hire Vita Pereira last year, they reacted to that news like a bunch of single mums who've just found out the local swimming teacher is on a register. And Pereira, unlike Dyche, had actually won things. How do Everton go from Carlo Ancelotti, a multiple Champions League winning coach, to the guy who sacked by Burnley last year? Lads, both Benitez and Ancelotti had faced off against each other in not 1, but 2 Champions League finals. And yet, now, you're giving the hallowed Everton job to a grubby former Millwall centre-half, a guy who sounds like a Batman villain, and who's only managed 2 clubs in his life. And let's not forget, Everton hated Benitez for his Anfield ties. But Dyche, he is a literal Liverpool fan. I mean, come on. Dyche is a good manager, but he's limited. He will keep Everton up, but so did Big Sam. What is the next step? People seem to think that survival is the be-all and end-all. No. Frank Lampard kept Everton up last year. But what then? They're still in a mess. Watching Bielsa walk out that office door, Moshiri should have been offering to triple his wage, give him foot massages every day, feed him muffins whilst naked in the bath. Bielsa would be the perfect Everton boss. But this short-term survival expert? Back in the days of Big Sam, sure, football clubs could afford to have average coaches in the Premier League and still do really well. Guys with the likes of Paul Jewell, Martin O'Neill, Alan Kirbersley and Steve McLaren could regularly finish inside the top 7. But no, since then, the level of Premier League coach has gone up. I mean, lads, Wolverhampton Wanderers are coached by a guy who used to manage Spain and Real Madrid. Aston Villa employ a man who's won 4 Europa Leagues. Leicester's manager once nearly won the Premier League. Antonio Conte coaches Spurs. West Ham are sniffing out Jose Mourinho, and Everton recently had Ancelotti. The level has gone up way up, way past the levels of a basic Sean Dyche. Honestly, lads, Everton's huge mistake was in 2021. They could have just let Rafa Benitez wait around for the Newcastle gig, as he was the new ownership's #1 choice to replace Steve Bruce, and that would have allowed Everton to just appoint an unemployed Eddie Howe, who, don't forget, is a boyhood Everton fan. Sean Dyche supports Liverpool. Howe would have been the perfect Everton choice, but no. I think Moshiri has repeatedly shown that he's got the brains of muddy soup. Just like Lampard, Dyche will be sacked in 2024. The results will dip, the style of football will be able to be as much fun to watch as two pigs giving birth, and then what? Just give Duncan Ferguson the job? Back to David Moyes or bringing Wayne Rooney on the loo? Oh lads, it'll probably be the return of Scott Parker. There is no Everton plan here, but that is what Bielsa would have offered. Dyche is just that short-term plaster you stick over that scratch on your armpit. Lads, even Lee Carsley would have been a clever project appointment coach. I mean, he's a former toffee who's been given coaching jobs at the likes of Manchester City, oh yeah, and England under 21s. Despite having 40 caps for Ireland, yeah, he's about as loyal as the brother of Roger Giggs. But still, even he would have been a progressive, modern day tactical analyst. I mean lads, he was literally teaching Guardiola ball to the Man City under 18s. But Sean Dyche, a guy who's recently linked with the job at West Brom, just... ew, no! Anyway, that's what do you think? How Sean Dyche's gonna do? Let me know in the comments below. Enjoy the video. Don't forget to like, share, as always. I'll talk to you in a while.